Hello everyone and welcome to the video and to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Steven and I am a second-year dental student. Shirt was messed up. This channel is about three things, or at least my channel banner says so. The first is dentistry. I'm a dental student. I talk about dentistry, of course, and most of the people that watch my videos are here for that type of content. But the second pillar of my channel is wellness, and that is what I'm talking about today. I'm gonna get right to the point. We live in a very sedentary world. People seem to be moving less and less as time goes on, and there are a lot of different reasons for this. If you think about earlier populations in human history, it was a requirement to essentially gather your own food. So early societies had to actually go out and kill animals to get their own food, and then that evolved into large-scale farming. And so basically there was a lot more work involved in just staying alive every single day. But let's think about today in 2021. We have the ability to get really high-calorie, unhealthy food at our fingertips. And now we don't even have to go get in a car to get there. We can basically DoorDash and Uber Eats things and get all of this food right to our door without moving at all. So the incentive to move is just much lower in our current world, and that's what I'm trying to combat for you today. Over the past year, I've found that I've been able to establish habits that have allowed me to stay active basically every single day, and that is what I want to try to teach you today, just some things that you can do in order to establish good habits that will allow you to remain active every single day from here all the way through the rest of your life. The goal of this video and my goal on the channel is really not to tell you how to lose weight or to tell you how to eat necessarily. What I'm trying to do is help you live longer, happier, and healthier lives so that you can benefit, of course, yourself, but also those around you that you love and care about. This is all about making a good contribution to the world around us, and it starts with us. It starts with the individual. You have to hold yourself accountable to make a positive impact. I'm gonna lay out the 6 steps that I have taken over the past year to essentially establish a more active lifestyle. And I hope that there are some things that you learn in this process. If you enjoy this video and you want to see more wellness type content from me, as well as more workout montages like the beginning of the video, make sure that you let me know in the comments. Let me know that you enjoyed it, like the video, and of course, subscribe to stay updated. Okay, so let's get into step 1 of this process. Okay, so step 1 of establishing a more active life is to make it fun. So the way that I basically started living more actively and eventually healthier was actually through running, and running is not a very popular thing that people enjoy doing, but that's how I got into it. And how did I actually go from not running at all to running every day basically? Well, I made it fun. I made it more interesting than it innately is. The way that I did this was I downloaded the Nike Run Club app, and that allowed me to kind of make running more of an analytical thing and less of something that I just forced myself to do. Every time I went out and ran, I could see each run in detail. I could see how fast I was going, how far I was going. I could see like the routes that I was taking, and all of this just made it a lot more interesting and analytical for me. And also the Nike Run Club app has some cool incentive systems built in where you get rewards for running the fastest mile that you've ever run or going the furthest distance. And so there's all these cool reward systems as well as run levels, as they call them, which continued to push me to continue to go out each and every day and do something that I wouldn't naturally be inclined to do. Another way that you can make exercise fun is by investing in something like an Apple Watch. Now this is an Apple Watch Series 3 that I have here. I got it certified refurbished from apple.com, and it was only like $200 when I bought it. And this is a great investment in your health because what this does is it keeps you accountable each and every day. You're able to go in and set activity goals that show up on your watch and give you little reminders on how active you're being and what you need to improve on each day. So Apple and other similar companies have allowed us to have a wearable piece of technology that prods us to be more active, and I think this is great. Another example of something like this is a Whoop band, which is gonna track your sleep and recovery. We'll talk about all of that in a bit, but try to get something similar, and once again, for relatively cheap, that's going to push you to be more active and is going to make this whole process a little bit more fun and a little bit more enjoyable. Our bodies are wired and designed to be active, but that doesn't mean that we always want to do it. So little things like this that make it a little bit more enjoyable for you, they're gonna go a long way in this process of establishing good activity habits. Okay, so step 2 of this process is to keep it simple at the start. I think what often happens for people who aren't very active and who are trying to get into a regular exercise routine is that they go online and they see these fitness influencers doing crazy workouts, running super far distances, going into the gym and doing all this stuff, and they think that that's what they need to do in order to get into this routine and to eventually look like these people and live as actively as these people do. So this is just not true at all. In order to get started with adding physical activity to your day, you just have to get started. You have to start somewhere, and honestly, you should start simple and easy. If you're someone who doesn't exercise at all, you never do anything throughout the week, I would recommend starting with like a simple 10-minute walk each day. What this will do is it'll get you outside, it'll get you into nature, into the wonderful life-giving rays of the sun, and it'll also allow you to start moving. In just 10 minutes, you can literally spare 10 minutes no matter what you're doing in life. And this is a great way to start moving and to just start this process of building a habit. According to James Clear in his book, Atomic Habits, it takes about 2 months or a little over 2 months to build a habit. So starting simple with something like this is a great way to get going. What this prevents is burnout. The most common thing that people experience when they start trying to diet or trying to exercise regularly is burnout because they start too fast or too heavily, and then they can't sustain that lifestyle. So start simple, and then what you'll find is a week or two into walking 10 minutes per day, you'll find that maybe you want to go for 15 or 20 minutes, and then after that you'll find, well, maybe I could start jogging a little bit to make this process go by a little faster and to burn a few extra calories. And before you know it, you're ramping up into a great exercise regimen and routine, and it took time, it took progress, but that's the way we have to build things in life. So don't push yourself too much in the beginning to do these crazy exercises. Keep it simple and build up to those things for your future. Okay, so I'm coming in hot with another James Clear Atomic Habits quote for step number 3 of this process. It's a great book. If you haven't read it, make sure you go out and read it as soon as possible. It's better to do less than you hoped than to do nothing at all. Let's face it, there are going to be days when we don't exercise. There are plenty of days in my life when I don't actually get out and do the exercise that I wanted to do, and that's just a fact of life. It happens. We're all extremely busy, no matter what profession we're in, no matter what part of school we're in. We're all busy, and you're gonna miss a day. But I do wanna make the point that consistency is more important than overall output. So it's really much more important to establish a long-term habit that's gonna last you for years and hopefully for the rest of your life than it is to work out super hard for a short period of time. And the best way to think about this is doing less than you hoped instead of doing nothing at all. So if you have a day where you're super busy and you're not really gonna be able to do as much as you hoped in terms of exercise, try to do less than what you planned on doing. Like for example, if I have a super busy day, I'll take 10 minutes, go downstairs and run a quick mile. This is not a ton, it's not as much as I wanted to do, but it's better than nothing. And this allows you to keep that habit strong and to keep consistent with these types of things. So overall, it's gonna keep you consistent and it's gonna help you live this more active life in general. So in the last point, I mentioned that we all have days that we're going to miss. Once again, we're all super busy, life is tough, so you're going to miss days of exercise. Especially in the beginning of this process of becoming more active, it's really, really important that you don't put too much pressure on yourself to exercise every day or a certain amount of times per week. Once again, what we're trying to do here is to avoid burnout. We're trying to establish a long-term habit. And if you put too much pressure on yourself, you'll find that burnout comes very, very quickly. It's okay to miss a day or to miss 2 days, 3 days, a week, whatever it is, as long as you can get back to it eventually. And also remember a very common saying, I know I'm just a walking quote today, but too much of anything is a bad thing. So putting too much pressure on yourself to exercise can be unhealthy. So try to keep a good, healthy balance when it comes to the amount that you're exercising. Okay, on to the next thing. Okay, so once you've established a more active lifestyle and you find yourself doing it more often, you're gonna notice two things become more important to you. And these are essentially two things that you're gonna be focusing on more often. The first of them is diet. Now, diet is its own long discussion, and I plan to make some videos about how I try to eat healthy, but that's definitely something that you wanna think about. I'm not a dietitian, I'm not an expert, so I'm not gonna go into a ton of detail about it, but there's a lot of good information out there about how to eat sort of low calorie dense foods that are going to give you all the adequate nutrients that you need each day. And this is a once again, whole extra discussion, but exercising more is going to make your body want healthier foods. It just kind of happens. And the other thing that's really, really important is recovery. Oftentimes we think that when we go out and exercise, we're doing our entire job and that's all we have to do. But actually sleeping, stretching, all these other types of recovery methods, these are really important because ultimately what's happening when we exercise is we are creating a small amount of damage throughout all of the muscles in our body. And we want for that damage to be able to heal. Make sure that you're sleeping adequately. Make sure that you're giving yourself time off to rest and recover. These are extremely, extremely important to prevent injury and to keep you exercising for a lot longer, not just in your young age now, but into the future as an older person. Step number 6, and the final step of this process of staying more active in your life, is to do what you're doing right now, to educate yourself. Now, hopefully this video was in fact educational. If it wasn't, that's my bad. But what you want to do is educate yourself on the importance of exercise, because that's going to help you fight against that eventual inevitable feeling of, I don't want to keep doing this. Why am I doing this to myself? When you're knowledgeable about the effects of exercise on the human body, it really helps you to stay motivated to continue to do it, because you realize how much of an impact this exercise is going to have on your long-term health and happiness ultimately. So it's really important to continue to educate yourself. If you don't enjoy reading, this might be kind of difficult because there's a lot of good books out there that can teach you about exercise. But of course, there's plenty on YouTube. There's plenty out there in the video format. And the best book in terms of all of this is actually this one. This is Spark by Dr. John Rady. I've talked about this book on this channel. It's one of my first videos, actually, an ancient video of mine. But I think when it comes to exercise, we often think about how exercise affects the body. And this book is talking more specifically about how exercise affects the brain. The brain is, of course, one of the most important organs that we have in the body. And so it's interesting to see how physical exercise impacts this thing up here, which of course then has diverse effects on the rest of our body. So if you're interested in a great book about exercise, check out Spark. And there's also plenty of other resources out there. If you're more inclined to listen to YouTube, check out Coach Greg Doucette on YouTube. He is very, very famous. He's got like over 1 million subscribers. And he is, in my opinion, one of the most knowledgeable people on the internet when it comes to being active and being healthy. Get through a couple of his videos. He sounds kind of crazy at first, but I promise Coach Greg is the man and the dude knows his stuff. So that's a wonderful person to look to if you're looking to be more active and to eat healthier and to do all these things. But continue to educate yourself, because I promise it will help you to do this exercise stuff as more of a long-term habit instead of a short-term interest or fad. But my friends, that is it for this video. That is 6 steps that I have kind of taken in my life to become a more active person each day. This video was not made to discourage anybody. It wasn't made to tell anybody the way that they should be living. These are just some things that I've done to become a more active person. And I've honestly noticed so many benefits in my life, both physical and mental, that have come from this increase in exercise. So I really wanted to share this process with you and to give you some of my thoughts on how to be more active. In the grand scheme of things on this channel, I'm trying to build out sort of all of the pillars of health. So activity is one of the first things that I think about when it comes to being healthy, but there are plenty of other things, including diet, sleep and recovery, and a bunch of other stuff that I want to talk about in the future. So if you'd like to see me talk about those topics, once again, make sure that you like this video, let me know that you enjoyed it, and also subscribe to this channel, because those videos will eventually be coming out and you don't want to miss them. But once again, folks, my name is Steven, and this has been my activity video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Share it with your friends.